I am here today with the one and only Shayla Deam with Remax Heritage in Lee's Summit, Missouri. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Well, how about
Absolutely.
you?
I'm great. First of all, congratulations. You were recently named the Remax Missouri Broker Manager of the Year for 2024.
How about that to your trophy collection?
Yeah, nice work and
Thank you. Thank you.
congratulations, deserved. On your website, it says you are the Director of Strategic Growth. Is that right?
Yes. So it's most commonly known as recruiter.
Okay,
It's a dirty word to me. It's necessary, right? The activity is
right,
necessary, but I don't like that word because I do it differently and I truly believe that. So I don't want to be classified in all the recruiting category, I guess I should say.
right.
So
Yeah,
about
yeah,
relationships.
understand. So what exactly do you do in your role in addition to recruiting or as part of attracting new talent?
It's probably easier to talk about what I don't do, but I'll stay with your question.
Okay,
Really just help grow and develop and empower and educate real estate agents who are business owners. And I think that's the key difference. Every single day I come in, I work off of a time block. There's certain things as I'm a broker owner now too, so I don't think I shared that with you, which is another level of responsibilities as well. But it's much like an agent in their business or a team lead in their business. There's specific vital activities that I go through every day, whether it be agent retention, whether it be development, whether it be recruiting, operations, you name it. I'm running a business just like the agents are running a business. So there's a lot that goes to it. Other than the specific time blocks that I'm sharing, there's a lot of activities that go inside each time block. So my day's pretty productive, Greg, for sure.
yeah, yeah. And Shayla and I talk maybe once every 3 months or so, and I always enjoy our conversations and come away feeling better than I did when we first started. But I think Shayla's in a unique position because of her position to see everything. And so I think we'll probably focus on the development piece. But again, I think you're in a position to see how different agents run their business, whether it's attitude, activities, behaviors, etc. So that's what I wanted to talk with you about today was basically what do you see for the agents who are thriving, which again means different things to different people, but basically the agents that are moving towards their goals, what do they do differently maybe than an agent that might be struggling a little bit?
Yeah, and you're right. There's two different types. I also think there's people who have a real estate license and there's people who run a real estate business. To me,
Mm,
that's the difference between the struggle and thriving, quite frankly. And what I will say too is we talked a little bit about this off camera is thriving is in relation to you and your journey and where you are. I think in a production based business, we can often get focused to the top producers, the top 10%, the top 1%, the top, all the noise. And I always look back at when we do business planning, if you do it right, it's what do I need to fund my life in 2025 and beyond? What do I need? Not okay, what does real producers need? What do I need to be in the top 10%? You can go on that journey, right? But when you're focused on what's the vision for my life and what do I want to fund, I get to define what success is. And when I can define what success is in my world, then there's to me some peace that comes with that because it doesn't matter what Greg does, what Bob and Sam and Tim, it doesn't matter what they do. I can congratulate them and honor them and appreciate them, but I also want to honor and appreciate and be proud of where I am on the journey. And I think when we can define what our goals are with intention, and be very specific with them. Again, I have hundreds of conversations. One conversation that I had with an agent, and I know this is a long answer, but I'm going to tie all this together. I remember talking with her about her goals for the year. And I run reports, so I know what agents do the year before and the year before that. I can see
right.
trends and whatnot. And I said, what are your goals for the year? And she had given me a number, which was substantially more than her goal last year. And I said, do you mind sharing with me why 35 transactions? And there was this long pause, Greg. And she couldn't answer that other than my productivity coach challenged and encouraged me to go for more. If you don't know why, what's going to happen is you're going to be so dismissive to 35 because somebody else or something else caused you to choose it and that you didn't choose it for you. So the thriving agent and the struggle agent, I think they need to have clarity around why they're doing this. Not because they like to help people, not because they want to make more money, not because they want to be in control of their schedule, which are good and bad things, right? It's why are you doing this? And I think you can thrive in that space when you have clarity around what you're doing daily. The agents that struggle, they're just trying to figure it out. They're picking really cheap options, very minimal support, and they're just helping some friends and families and just doing it. So, no, that's a long-winded answer, but I think it goes back to each type of agent, how they got started and where they're setting the intentionality in their business.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So let's dig in a little bit for the agents who are either way, thriving or struggling. How much of that do you think ties back to their daily schedule?
Oh, all of it. All of it.
Yeah.
Because we can wake up and just say, okay, I'm going to react to whatever the day brings me,
Mm.
which means that you're going down a bit different path every second of the day. It would be equivalent, Greg. We've all been on a trip before, right? And you put in your GPS where you want to go. But if you didn't follow that step by step, it doesn't get you there in the shortest amount of time and the most direct path
Mhm.
because you're intentional with that path. If you reacted to everything and turned and went in circles and did all the things, you're going to end up completely off of where you intended to leave. And I don't know about you, but I only have one chance at this life. And I'm going to live it with very specific intention. So the agents that's thriving, they understand that. And we talk about that daily inside of our organization is where are you headed? And does your calendar reflect some intention? What I do not prefer to hear is when you say, what's your day look like? Oh, it's all clear. It's all clear. You pick the time. Then I'm going, oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah, because I know basically when I'm intentional before reactive, everything just goes so much smoother. And we all have those days where we don't stick to our calendar and because of something pops up and we feel like, okay, I've got to deal with that right now. And in reality, it could wait most likely for a little while, or maybe you have time scheduled in your calendar to deal with anything that's popped up. But yeah, when I've spoken to you, you seem to have a structure to your day. And maybe it's different on different days. You don't just go in winging it. You know what you need to do and when it's going to get done and put it on your calendar. Would you say that's a common denominator for agents who are doing well, that they do have some structure?
Yeah, for the ones that are doing well, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's not like we woke up, Greg, and we're like, okay, I'm going to map my day out. I think there was a challenge or a feeling that we didn't like to be in that caused us to say, okay, there has to be a different way. And that's what I want agents to be reminded, or any business owner for that matter. If you're constantly faced with resistance or you're ending your day feeling, man, I didn't have enough time. I'm like, oh, you didn't get 24 hours yesterday? Oh my goodness. But it's one where eventually I got tired of ending my day going, oh my gosh, I forgot this and I forgot that. And I just felt exhausted. And I have a business coach. I've had a business coach for 9+ years. And he was like, you need an AMS. An AMS stands for an activities management system. If you do not manage your activities, your day will manage you. And that is not living with intention. That is not being focused on where you're headed. Again, going back to the maps, I know where I'm headed. Therefore, these are the things that I must be doing consistently on a daily basis in order for me to get there. If I react, I'm just leaving it to chance as to where I'm headed and what my results are. So I definitely think the agents that are thriving in their business, They are in control of their schedule. And I say that lightly because you're right. There are things that come up. There are fires that come up, maybe not as big as we think that they are, but there are things that
Right.
come up. And again, we're not perfect. We're human beings. We're
Yeah.
not perfect. And so the reality is there are times where you're going to get off. But if you look at your schedule, it's real easy to go, okay, it's 10:10. Where should I be operating? I got off for 10 minutes. Where should I be operating? So you may have taken a short detour, but now you're back on it.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're talking about time blocking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not a new concept, but yeah, how do you walk somebody through how to set up time blocking? I guess they need to determine what activities need to get done, be like the
Bingo.
starting point, and then when, and put it on the calendar. Is it that easy?
That's the easy part. What do you think the hard part is with the expectation?
Actually doing it.
That's with anything, right? That's with the diet. That's with any change that you're having. It's not easy. A process to put it down is a simple process, but you're creating new habits and new behaviors and rewiring yourself to behave differently. And I don't think we give ourselves enough grace. We quickly say, oh, that doesn't work. And it's like people who've lived before us and the people that live with intention and follow a schedule with the vital things that need to be done, they're the ones that have the same amount of hours that you have. And we're asking ourselves, man, they must be really talented. Like they're achieving some amazing things. And sometimes it's not even just talent, it's they're intentional with it. So I had an agent, we were going over an activities management schedule, and she was like, man, it's not really flowing right. And I just am like, she was feeling the resistance. And I had to remind her, I'm like, you're feeling the resistance because this is something new. And when you think about our industry, a lot of people get into it because they're like, I want to be in control of my own schedule, which is a good thing. But then if you lack discipline and you want to be in control of your own schedule, basically what you're saying is, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. So you're probably going to resist an AMS more than the person that is the true entrepreneur that's give me a space where I can just thrive and run with this. Did I answer your
Yeah.
question, hopefully?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe you can talk about yours, even though you're in a little bit different role, but from the perspective of an agent, what kind of activities need to be on the calendar or need to be on the schedule? I assume lead generation is one, maybe client follow-up, maybe a time to react to anything that has popped up, working on your business to make it better. Yeah. So what kind of things do you recommend?
Yeah, going back to, you said lead generating, and a different
Right.
term that I like to use now is relationship generating.
Right.
I think it's
Yeah.
softer on our ears and a little less demanding, especially if you're truly about relationships.
Right.
But it's about looking at your department. So for me, from an operations standpoint, again, my departments are retention, development, recruiting, like those are my departments. And inside my departments, there are vital things in that department which fall under my business umbrella. There are vital things that have to be done. And we have to remind ourselves, if we can identify the vital activities to our business, that means that these things must be done. It's not, oh, if I get it done, it's fine. When we say vital to ourselves, it comes with more of a sense of urgency and expectation. It's like your vitals. Like if you didn't have your vitals, you wouldn't be alive. You have vitals in your business and there's vital activities in your business. Agents need to block that out. And we're going to block that out based upon what their business plan says. So, sure, we could say everybody needs to block this out, block that out, but we want to be very specific where we look at, okay, what's your vision? What's your business plan, and how are you going to generate business that's funding that plan? And then we operate off of that. There should be a time for development. I think a lot of agents with some changes in the market, they're recognizing, oh, I don't know everything. Because when results are high, you think you've got it all figured out because you can have some success and not really know fully what you're doing or master the business. Would you agree?
Yes.
So that agent, you want to make sure that you are constantly developing yourself, that you're in community and you're around conversations and different perspectives. Your good friend Carl One thing that I go back to all the time in the biology of leadership when he talks about the different quadrants. I think when you're in a community and people chime in and ask a question, it changes the whole trajectory of the conversation. And so it's new to your ears. The conversation agents are at different phases. So development is huge. Relationship generating is huge. Client care is huge. Obviously, your showings and your paperwork all fall underneath those different categories. So if they set some intention there and they map out what they're doing, they should never at the end of the day go, man, I don't have any deals in the book. My first response is, let's go back to your schedule. What are you doing in your departments?
Yeah. One of the things I track is how many quality conversations did I have today? And I have time blocked to generate those quality conversations, which again fall under your relationship development. And what's amazing to me is as little as 2 quality conversations per day is enough to have a booming business. And a quality conversation may be, hey, I'm ready to buy a house right now. Yeah, but a quality conversation may be, how you been? What's going on in your life? And it's just amazing how many times something comes from that later. I just think if we do the right thing, somebody told me once, you'll always be rewarded, sometimes immediately, sometimes later, but eventually always. If you're doing the right things, it will pay off. Yeah, that's one of the things that I track, because if I don't, I can go all day long and not have a quality conversation.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that kind of goes back to, again, being intentional, having time set aside to try and have those conversations. Sometimes they just pop up without me being the one to initiate, but I also need to do my part to generate those opportunities. Yeah.
Do you feel like people shy away from that relationship generating opportunity because they've gotten in between their own two ears of they don't want to hear from me and I'm selling and I need, and I like the dialogue that we tell ourselves instead of really going back to, if you ask each of us or each agent, and I can tell you the answer is typically the same when I say, why did you get into this business? What do you think the number one response is?
To help people.
Exactly. Exactly. And so it's to help people. And then when you say, okay, that's perfect. When's the last time you picked up the phone and called those people that you
Right.
want to help? And most times it's, my day gets away, or it's this, it's that. I'm like, again, that's living and operating your business without intentionality. You're not selling anything, Greg. Like, we're not selling anything at all. What we're offering is we're option givers, we're offering systems and processes. But at the end of the day, aside from what you do, what I do, what the police, what anybody does for a profession, we are still human beings. And the opportunity to connect with the other human being, to me, is vital as a human in general. So the business is going to come when you show people that you truly care about them and that you're not chasing new leads and new business and meanwhile forgetting all the people that you say you care about. Prove to them what you say by what you do and pick up the phone and call them.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think there's a lot of similarities between mortgage people and real estate agents, to where it can be tempting to just chase where are the people that need to buy right now. And that's hard because you don't know what's going on in their life. How about you're there whenever? And so with past clients, it's like they don't need to be in the market to buy something right now for me to reach out to them and just see what's going on and see if there's anything I can help them with. I had one just last week. She got married and wanted to add her husband to title. And so I said, oh, I can help you with that. Call the title company, get a quick claim deed, fill it
Do
out,
all things.
for her, have them double check it because that's not normally what I do. And say, here, there you go. Now you got to go down and get it filed and give them a check for $38. But she's, I can't believe you actually did that. I'm like, why not? If I say I'm going to be around for you after the loan closes. That's what I'm talking about. Again, didn't do that so that I can get something in return. I did it just because,
It's the right thing to do.
yeah. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I know if that's the way I live and operate, I think that'll pay off, even though it's not my intention. I think there will be people who like that and won't use anybody else.
And a couple of things that you said, a lot of times we can get caught up in if we've closed a deal with someone, we set that aside because they're not going to need us for a while.
Right.
Thinking transactional.
Right.
When we're thinking relational, it's look, that person knows somebody at their work, in their life, on the soccer field, at the gym that may be in need of my services. And
Right.
what better of a gift than to tell a friend who they should be using versus leaving it up to a Google algorithm,
Right.
Zillow or Realtor.com, where the agent, and I'm not knocking it, we're basically buying relationships. But what we're doing is we're stepping over the $10 bill to get the dollar right now and not saying, Greg, it was great working with you. I'm sure at some point you're going to come across people that are going to be in need of the same services. I hope that this process has gone well for you and that you remember my name, because
Yeah.
that's what this is about. It's about relationships and connecting people. So it's, again, we get so caught up, like you said, in the here and the right now, but it's, man, there's still relationships that we're not nurturing at all. And those are the ones that are ending back up on Zillow looking for somebody because their agent dropped them instead of staying in contact with them.
And the statistics may be better than I do. X% of people say, yeah, I had a good experience with my agent and yeah, I'd use them again. And then how many of those people actually do use the same agent? And again, whenever that happens to me, which it does, most of the times because I dropped the ball somewhere along. And every now and then I do everything right and they still go somewhere else. Not very often, but most of the time it's like, gosh, I hadn't talked to them for 3 years. No wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a conversation with the agent over breakfast the other day, and we were talking about that because they were very busy reacting to the demands. And we were talking about the people that he either had already worked with or the people that he knows. And he was like, yeah, I can think of 10 people right now that I have not talked to. And I'm
Mm,
like, there you go.
yeah.
There's something in your business that you need to polish and work on.
Yeah. So this is all tactical stuff. Again, even the conversations. And so I've been thinking, and I told you I might ask you about this. So let's say you have two basically equal people, skill wise. They know what they're doing, they have the skills. What role do you think confidence plays in their success or not? And then as a follow up, what can somebody do to become more confident?
I think the way you think, it, for instance, it all begins with the way you think,
Right.
right? So if you lack confidence, what thoughts are going through your mind? I'm,
Right.
I'm not good enough,
Yeah.
like all the things. And so what you think, your mouth float like that flows from it. And so to me, lack of confidence says to a client, a customer, a friend that you're unsure,
Hmm.
you're uncertain. And to me, I think it's okay. It's okay to lack confidence in something, because when you lack confidence in something, what does that expose? An area for growth, right? An opportunity for you. But most often it's, oh, I can't do this. And I just need to give it time, right? I just need to give it time and I'll figure it out. And I'm like, no, put yourself in a community, in a classroom, listen to a book or a podcast that helps you grow and develop in the area. So if you lack confidence, you need to first ask yourself why. You need to ask yourself what challenges or opportunities have come up where you've identified that you need to grow, whether it be in conversion, in just picking up the phone or whatever, and grow in that area. But most of the time, we fall to our excuses, we believe them, and there's arrogance out there, don't get me wrong. But to believe in yourself and recognize that you can overcome that, a lack of confidence, a lack of courage, or whatever it is, just as an opportunity for growth. And if you create a victim mentality, then you're going to sit in that, and it's going to be everybody else's fault. It's going to be the interest rates. It's how many times have we heard that? It's the interest
Yeah.
rate, the market, whatever. And it's no, it's how you're looking at it. It's your lack of confidence and how to have the conversation about the market, about whatever. But really, to me, if you're lacking confidence, you need to ask yourself, where do I need to develop? Because you're not just cursed with the lack of confidence. Like, you're a human being. We all have
Right.
it in areas, and it just shows, man, I'm not really good here. And so that's where we need to get better. The people that have the confidence are the ones that are putting in the work. They're
Right.
intentional with their growth. They're not asking for book recommendations on social media of what they should read next. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, what should
Yeah.
I read? My response is, where do you want to grow in? What area do you want to grow in, and being intentional with that? So does that
Right.
answer your
Yeah, for sure. I've heard confidence, the actual word comes from some Latin word like confidere, which that means intense trust and basically it's trust in yourself.
yeah, bingo. Yep.
Yeah. And so then if I want to be more confident, how do I develop trust with myself, with other people? I think it's all the same. And so I think it really goes back to, do what you say you're going to do. If I say something, do I trust that's actually going to happen? So I imagine the little angel on one shoulder and the little devil. But the point is, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I got a little Greg in there that's either saying, yeah, you always do. If you tell them you're going to do it, you always do it. And on the other hand, I may have a little Greg in there. Maybe they're both in there saying,
They are. Yeah.
you've told that 10 times and you never follow through. That's the whole confidence thing is, listen, do I do what I say I'm going to do, not just for other people, but to myself? Build that trust in myself to where it's like that little person that's saying, you probably won't even do it. It gets minimized because of all of the times that I actually say I'm going to do something and I do it, no matter how small it is.
Absolutely. People want to hear you through your behavior. And so if your behavior isn't aligned with what you're going to say, that trust, confidence, all those things, my mind is an analogy mind. Like, I naturally
Mhm.
come up with analogies for me to understand or maybe help people connect. It's the gift that God's given me. And when you were talking about confidence, if you and I were getting ready again, hopping on a road trip, apparently I need to take a vacation because I keep talking about a map and a road trip. So I guess this would be your cue too. If you haven't been on
Yeah.
vacation in a while, make sure you do that. But if you and I were going to go on a road trip and we were going to get in the car and you were, man, just, I think I can drive. And Greg, I would not put you behind the wheel.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, same thing with your business. If you lack confidence, I'm not going to put you behind the wheel of the largest transaction of my life. I might love you, but I'm not going to put you behind the wheel. Same thing with the car.
Right.
If somebody doesn't have the confidence to get us there safely, I'm not going to get in the passenger seat. And if you want to get in the driver's seat, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be in the passenger seat. So I think confidence is an area for growth, which is why development needs to be on your schedule.
Right.
And if you
Yeah.
say to yourself, I'm good, I got this business because business is flowing. What if there's more? What if there's more area for growth for you where you should be leaning in to build something long-term sustainable? Is why that development piece is important. So
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah.
letting me share the
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And taking action is in there somewhere. Again, not because I know it's going to work perfectly every time, but because I took action. And that's all I can do is take the right action. And again, if you consistently do that, I think you build confidence in yourself that I'm the person that will take action. And if I continue to do that, if necessary, I'll make adjustments, but eventually it's going to work. And so I asked you about confidence just because, again, let's just say that somebody's less skilled than me, but maybe they get the business. Part of that is it really comes back to letting people feel I'm your guy.
And there's a lot of new people that get into the business, right? Where I've been in for 19 years. So it would be easy to be like, they've been in 3 years or 2 years, 12 months, whatever it is. But I think their ability to communicate and be transparent around that, I need to prove that I have a team behind me. And that's what we tell our agents here. It's look, you get to go on your listing appointments as a new agent. You get to go in your buyer's consultations as a new agent and present yourself with an entire team that is backing you. You have broker support, you have development courses that you're constantly in. And although you may not have all the answers, you have a team of people that are readily available to help you with every part of the process. So it just goes back to how they're effectively communicating their ability. It doesn't mean that they're perfect and they have it all figured out, because you'll get phone calls like that as a new agent where somebody's, I've been in 25 years. That's great. However, I think you can be in 25 years and all of a sudden put yourself in an environment where you're operating on an island alone. You don't have the support. Does that make you better than the agent who has an immense amount of support, is consistently developed and trained and coached? I would venture to go this way more than I would, oh, I've been doing it for 25 years. It's not
Right.
hard to get a result in this business, is it? Hard is you putting in the work consistently day in and day out when you don't feel like it. That's what gets the result.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm developing my thoughts on that. But yeah, I just think confidence is just, first of all, you need to believe in yourself. And the way you do that is by doing the right things consistently, whether you feel like it or not, which is hard.
Don't you
Yeah,
think that's what entrepreneurship is, though? But you got to believe in yourself. That's why I
right. For sure.
stepped out in this world. I
Yeah,
mean, I could have fallen to societal expectations and went and worked for
sure.
someone else and did
Yeah,
those things. But
yeah,
at some point, you bet on yourself.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'll continue to do that. Maybe I'll have a TED talk someday. I'll get this confidence thing
Should.
into yeah. All right. So are there like one or two changes that you, and again, I know it's specific, but just in general, one or two changes you would recommend that an agent make if they're not where they want to be or heading where they want to head?
Yes. I don't know that there would be one or two changes because, again, I always meet people
Right.
where they
Sure.
are. I think it goes back to understanding there is a better way. I talk about this a lot. What gets sold to us as agents each and every day is not a way to do business. What gets sold to us as agents is cheaper structures
Hmm.
in whatever fashion, the opportunity to do a lot of things. That's what gets sold to us as agents. What needs to get sold to us as agents is us as leaders in this industry, meeting them where they are and truly doing a business consultation, right? Saying, okay, Greg, why are you doing this? Share with me why you're doing this and what you're trying to fund in your life in 2025. There's a vast majority of agents when I meet with them that they pause so long on that because nobody has ever asked them that question. And
Mhm.
honestly, it breaks my heart because it just shows that we're here. When I say we're here, I'm talking about the industry is just signing people up to give us numbers and to allow us to say we're number one in this. And it's no, these are human beings who are trying to go to work every day. You do. We go to work and it's a hunt. We don't just show up and get the paycheck and get those things. So going back to identifying, okay, why are you doing this? And then what's your business plan? And if they don't have one of those two things, then that's what they need, right? If an agent is on here watching and they're like, I don't have a vision, I'm just waking up and reacting, then I want them to go back and ask themselves, why are they doing this? What are they funding? If they have a business plan and they're still not getting the results, I want them to ask themselves, are they operating daily and consistently with vital activities in that area? So I hate to give just two answers
Right.
because it's so hard because it's different for everyone. But I will say most agents who fall in that median category, median to low range category, are just reacting to what's showing up on them instead of doing this by design because they can. Here's the other reason why they don't know that there's another way is because that's not what our market is talking about. That's not what recruiters are talking about. It's not
Mhm.
what some brokers are talking about. It's more, sign it up. And it's like, time out. These are human beings and these are lives. There are some people that shouldn't be in the business, but the ones that choose to be in the business, it's such a precious opportunity that when I get to sit and talk with them, I do. I'm like, okay, What's your challenge? Where are you? If you could wave a magic wand, what do you want to fix instead of me going in and saying, okay, you need to do this? It's just identifying those missed opportunities in their business. And sometimes it's in their life too. So I'm exhausted at the end of the day with those meaningful conversations, not in a bad way,
Right.
but because every conversation that I have, Greg, is with intention of truly helping shine some light, open some opportunities for them, whether they come here or not. That's not what
Right.
it's about. It's I want them to do better, because if they do better, regardless of where they are, our whole industry shines because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
I wish I
good.
could give two answers, but
Yeah, again, I knew that was a loaded question, and that was the right answer, which it depends where you're at. What do you need? Where do you want to be? So yeah, no, that was a perfect answer. So and this one may be along the similar, hard to answer. Yeah, so what resources have you seen make the biggest impact for agents, whether it's books, coaching, mentorship, community? Yeah. So just are there any things that stand out that can really provide a positive impact?
yes, all those things together.
Yeah.
It's almost like a web. You hear a lot of, we've got really good training. Like, I've got really good training. Okay. Are you going to said training? Are you adjusting how you operate because of said training? Are you just going and coming out a Jeopardy champion? Training is good if there's accountability and things that stem off of that. The reason why I know there's another way is because I see the tangible proof. I see agents' lives and businesses changing because not only do they have development or training, whatever you want to call it, but they have the consulting that goes along with it, and they have the accountability. I will tell you, the accountability is probably the number one missing piece in an agent's business and in a team leader's way that they run their business. Accountability is really where the rubber meets the road, Greg, in my opinion. Because it's, again, like recruiting, it's such a word of, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. It's, you've got it all wrong. Accountability isn't about telling anybody what they need to be doing. It's about you identifying where you want to grow, being in a community of other people who want to grow, and then showing up the next time and talking about those successes or talking about those challenges. We have seen agents go. I had an agent that's been here, man, ever since I've been here. So 9 years. She stepped into accountability last year. So she added that piece to her business. Again, it's like the web. If you remove one piece, it affects the whole structure, the strength of it. She added accountability to her business and saw an increase of 80 plus thousand in GCI because of accountability. And she will tell you that is the number one piece. And we see it all across the board. And it's the same thing in conversations with team leaders who struggle with their agents not doing certain things. And it goes back to, it should be an honor to work for you. How are you holding them accountable to it? And they're not. They're just pushing them to close deals and do the business. And it's, no, we need accountability. We perform better with accountability. So if you don't have that in your business and your business isn't where you want it to be, you need to ask yourself, do you have the coaching, the training, the consulting, the accountabilities, and the masterminds? Do you have all of those things? And if you do, are you just participating in one? Or are you participating in none? But I would say the accountability is huge, but you can't do accountability without a business plan, right? What are you being held accountable for? How you feel?
Yeah.
Because that's what accountability is. It's removing Greg's emotions from the outcome, because you can't hear people all the time. They're like, I hold myself accountable. I'm like, that's impossible. You might strive and do things better, but you can't hold yourself accountable, because that's removing the emotions, and you can't remove the emotions from yourself until you're in a group or one-on-one.
Yeah. That was going to be my wrap up question. You may have already answered it unless you can think of another. I was going to ask you if you had a story of an agent who had turned things around or leveled up, and what they did to make that happen, which you just talked
Yeah.
about. This
Lots of
agent.
stories. And
Yeah.
that is what just makes me happy. Brings me so much joy when I can see agents truly investing in being the best version of themselves personally and professionally. But they do that because they trust their environment. They trust me as a leader. They trust our other directors. They know that we care about them. And that's just it. You
Right.
can't incorporate accountability if it's like you and Carl, right? He genuinely cares about you and he has your best interest in mind. That's why you're willing to be transparent and vulnerable on your calls with him because you know he cares about you. If you're in
Right.
an environment where you don't even know who your broker is, or even if you have all those things and you're like, I'm floundering, like you don't have to do that. Stop doing that to yourselves because that's just a downward spiral. But our agents know, like, we care about them and we have their best interests. And so they lean into that. And there's lots of tears, which are good, right? Because then I cry, man, on my coaching calls, my coach is, are you still there? I'm like, yes. And he was like, my job here is done because he knows he's hit a point in me where it's, man, I'm feeling something right now. We need to dive into that. I have lots of words and lots of stories. It's hard for me to combine it in
Yeah.
1 hour. So I hope I haven't confused things at all.
No, been fantastic. And again, I appreciate your time as always, and hopefully we can do it again sometime in the near future. But yes, thank you so much for spending 45 minutes with me and yeah, sharing your life.
We didn't spend our time, we invested our time. And I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate you reaching out to me and giving me a platform to share some challenges and some opportunities for agents in our marketplace. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Always enjoy our conversations. We'll catch you next time.
Sounds great. Thanks, Greg.